Thank you, Elon. Joining us right now to talk more about that is someone who might not have been quite as happy with yesterday's debt ceiling deal as some of his colleagues in government. U.S. Senator Mike Braun, Republican of Indiana. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
How happy or unhappy are you this morning?
I'd say disappointed is an understatement. Kind of my worst fear. I remember back on the campaign trail when the continuing resolution was done to re-enable defense. And I thought I heard the president say last time. And that was needed because it was emaciated over time. And this is kind of unfurling about like I thought it would happen once I got here. You find every gimmick you can to avoid what any CEO, any CFO would take on as a challenge and accomplish it. Here, sequestration, caps, all there. We've been resourceful, skirting them, and here we are, $22 trillion in debt, $1 trillion deficits, and we've got this abomination coming across. It's sad, and I think the American public needs to really, pay attention here, because this is different now, $22 trillion of debt, than what it was a decade ago, or even 3-4 years ago, or even when President Trump came in. This tells you how this place is going to run.
Senator, what do you tell your colleagues, and have you spoken to the president about this?
I have not spoken to the president, but I'm going to tell my colleagues this is a golden opportunity to vote against this because all it's doing is kicking it down the road, throwing all this burden on our kids and grandkids, and at a time when our economy is as hot as it's ever going to be. This is when you start paring that down, if you know classic economics. The sad thing is here, I'm impressed by the number of smart people that don't have any clue when it comes to the major things we need to do here, because they've never done a budget. They've never done a payroll. They never run anything. They don't realize that in any other entity, state government, local government, business, school board, this gets laughed at. Only here in the federal government, because you got a credit card, you can throw it on each year. Can we do this?
Senator, but let me ask you then, you voted in favor of the tax cuts across the board, correct?
I did.
You did?
No, I didn't. No, I was for them. I wasn't in the Senate then. That happened back in December 17.
But you were in favor of them?
I was, because that, even the CBO, if they were honest, has been much closer to revenue neutral than what the $150 billion per year for 10 years or the $1.5 trillion. I'm actually amassing information that'll make that point, because implicit and explicit in everything the Democrats talk about is that we could raise revenues to do some of the crazy things that they've got on their agenda. That's not the case. We're nearly at the sweet spot of government revenue if you want a 3% economy instead of mediocrity of 1.5%.
So you don't believe it's adding to the deficit, that the tax
it's
cuts
adding just a little bit, but I've looked at the month by month since it went into effect in January of 2018. The government didn't get its first difference in revenue until April, when most businesses and individuals made their first estimated payments, but it's been closer to neutral than it is busted. We've got a structural $800 billion deficit due to spending. And I'm not saying there aren't ways to enhance income, but it's so minute. It would only impact high liquid incomes. There's not enough of it there.
Do you believe the tax cuts juice the economy, and how much?
There's no doubt about it. I'm a Main Street entrepreneur, been in business 37 years as of that point. Never had anything more palpable and measurable than not having to send 40% of your revenue to a broken institution, because you could reinvest it like I did in higher wages, better health care, and all that kind of stuff. It's given us this 3% economy. I guarantee you, if those are tinkered with, we'll go back into the Obama doldrums to where we'll never get outside of a 1.5% or 2% growth.
Okay. Senator, we have to leave the conversation there. It's a much longer one. I'd love to speak with you to understand exactly where you'd cut and what you want to do, and what we think the implications of where taxes are today. And we will have you back very soon to do all of that. Thank you so much this morning.
Look forward to coming back on.
You bet.